Greetings to you in Jesus' name. It's a joy and pleasure in sharing God's word with you. Today, I would like to talk to you about a topic called decisions and you. As my friends, there are certain decisions which we make in our day to day life. Every day, we have to choose something or the other, like food and also dresses we want to wear, or some job opportunities, or any offers we get. And also, for example, if it's a student, they have to take a decision of what project they have to do or not, and also the courses they have to do. And also there may be lot of decisions we need to make. Each and every person in this world who live, from a small young kid into the old man or woman, everyone, each and everyone have to take a decision. There is no one in this world who need not make a decision, because God has also given us a free will. But there's also a catch, that are we following the right one or the wrong one? So let us take a look on the characters in the Bible and see what we can learn and take it as an impact on our life. For example, there are so many people I can list out, but there are only few characters which can make an impact on our life. For example, let's take Abraham. Abraham is known as the father of faith. He is known for the positive reasons in the Bible. But let us take a certain decision which he made, which resulted in a bad thing. That is, for example, he made a bad decision where he chose Hagar. His wife told that he can marry his servant Hagar, and so without thinking, because of the pressure, he took a bad decision, and it turned out bad in the end also, where he was left heartbroken. So when we take a decision, let us not take a bad decision out of pressure. When we take a decision out of pressure, it ends us in pain and turmoil. See, what happened was, in Abraham's life, he took a decision, he married Hagar, and when Hagar had a son, Sarah told him to chase her out. And that's how enmity started. And also there goes on many things about how there were complications in his life. So let us never listen, or let us never take a decision because of pressure. When we take decision because of pressure, it hurts us and also it breaks us. So when there is a pressure on your life, never ever take a decision, but instead of that, just relax. Just give your life into the hands of God. When you give your life into the hands of God, He will help you. He will help you calm down in the storms of life, and He will surely help you to make a right decision. Because of the bad decision Abraham took, it resulted into so many things. Okay, so let's not go deeper into that, but let's move on to the next character, Esau. Esau was a famous hunter. He used to hunt things very quickly, but the one thing which he was weak was food. Okay, we see that in the Bible. Jacob cooked a red stew, and Esau was very hungry. I think Esau loved the cooking of Jacob. That's why when he saw that Jacob was cooking red stew, okay, it was just red stew, but his hunger was so much and his love for Jacob's cooking was so much that he just rejected his birthright. He never gave a thought to the value of birthright. All his focus was on food. He was so famished, he was so hungry that he thought that he will die out of hunger, because he was a good hunter and he hunted things very quickly, and he became very tired and so on. His focus was mainly on food. Okay, and when Jacob said, "You have to give me your birthright in exchange for the stew," Esau was very willing to give Jacob the stew in exchange for his birthright. See, it's an urgency. Because of the urgency, he needed something. He wanted to get something. He wanted to get it now and right now. Just like so many things are instant these days. In the same way, Esau wanted it now. Right now, I have to need it, or else nothing. There are so many people in this world who are in that situation. Okay, many of us make a decision like that. We make decisions which affect our lives later. We see it nice and rosy now, but later it gets affected, like marriage, love, and also job, and so many other things. We make decisions, even sometimes food, and so many other things. We make right choices, and also we make the wrong choices. The wrong choices always happen when there is pressure and also in urgency. We saw two characters right now: Abraham, who made a bad choice because of pressure, and also Esau, who made a wrong choice because of his urgency to solve the matter, that is his hunger. He never saw the blessing, the importance of the blessing, the importance of the birthright. Rather than that, what he saw was his hunger should be satisfied. Okay, he wanted his hunger to be gone. He wanted his tiredness to be gone. And that is why, instead of choosing the right thing, the birthright, which is very precious and which is very valuable and had a lot of blessings in it, he just neglected the birthright, just like it, as if it had no value. And he had to suffer. When he got the blessing from his father later on, when we see in the Bible, his blessing was not as good as the blessing Jacob received. So, my friends, let's never think about what is the temporary thing, but let us be focused on the permanent. Okay, because when we focus on things which is just temporary, or which is a shortcut, or a right solution for us, which is in our thinking at that moment, at that hour, at that minute, we just make the wrong decisions and it ends up in misery. So let's never make decisions when it is at the baddest hour. Okay, and let's move on to David. When we look at the life of David, David had many choices, David had many things, David had many blessings, David had riches, David had many wives, and so on. But when we see an instance in the life of David, that David made a wrong choice, a poor choice. That is, he wanted to have another man's wife. Okay, and then when he did that, she became pregnant. He wanted to kill her husband and cover it up. Okay, because there was no way of him to get out of that situation. He tried in so many ways to get out of that situation, but the result was nothing he could do. So what he did, he ended up murdering that woman's husband. And what happened was his own descendants were cursed. So my friends, how many of us do things which tend to cover up? Okay, we make a mistake, and after that mistake we try to do another mistake to cover it up, or we tell a lie, and in order to cover that lie we tell another lie, and we do so many things. There are so many things in our lives which we tend to do, that is cover up, cover up, cover up, cover up, cover up, and that cover ups becomes a big mountain and it becomes a big pie. Are you also in that kind of situation? Please do not make a decision which has to be only cover up, cover up, cover up, cover up. It will not be a bridge in your life. It will only be a mountain. You have to have a solution, and you have to have a mountain breaker in your life. Do not ever tend to do a cover up decision, okay? Because it will only end you up in turmoil. You will never ever get out of that situation. Rather, you will be going down and down and down, and you will drown. Okay, you will never be able to climb the ladder, but rather than climbing up, you will only be falling down. So never make a cover up decision at all in your life, because it will cost you anything and everything that is precious. And let's go on to Haman. Haman was the right hand to King Ahasuerus, or King Artaxerxes, we can call him. He was given a very high position, and he commanded everyone to bow to him. But when we see that Mordecai, he was a Jew, and he never ever bowed to him. He never showed his respect to Haman. Okay, because he wanted to give bow down only to God, Jehovah. So what happened was, Haman, when every day he used to cross the road, every time he used to pass by, he used to see that Mordecai never bowed to him even once. He used to stand straight on his feet and never ever bowed to him. So this caused hatred and anger, bitterness, rage in the heart of Haman. So he went to his wife and told, "I'm very happy I was invited to the banquet of Queen Esther," and so on. And the king has blessed me. The king has lifted up my position. The king has told me to take this decision. The king has raised me up to this standard. The king favors me among all the other princes, among all the other scribes and scholars. He loves me, and I'm his favorite, like that he was telling. But what happened was, in on one instance, when he saw that a person, not many people, when one person did not give respect to him, one person did not bow, he took a decision out of rage, out of hatred. So when he took the decision out of rage and out of hatred, anger and bitterness, it just backfired on him. What happened is, we see that Haman, he just told his wife and his friends, and they told him to build up a very big gallows so that he can hang Mordecai. Okay, see, it's only one. Okay, it was only a minor problem. He could have just solved it because he had the power. He could have corrected Mordecai. He could have gone and he could have punished him, or he could have also threatened him. But what he did was he put a thread. Okay, based on the mistake of Mordecai, he put a thread on the whole of the people. Okay, he did not know that Queen Esther was also a Jew. So, because his target was on Mordecai, the rage which was on Mordecai not only affected his life but also his descendants. Because when he tried to punish Mordecai, he not only wanted to punish Mordecai, he wanted to put an end to the race of the Jews. So, when he wanted to do that, he also built a gallows to Mordecai, and also he made it a point that he wanted to put an end to all of the Jews. Okay, so when he and also he wanted, and he told the king that he wanted it as a decree, so that, and also permission to destroy all the Jews. Because he had an hatred on one person, what happened was his descendants also were ruined. Okay, he lost his family, he lost his wife, he lost all his possessions, he lost all his children. Not one of his children were alive. Okay, all of his children were dead because of him. He lost all his possessions. He lost the house which he lived in. He lost the signet ring which he had. He lost his life. He lost everything in his life. Because why? Because he took a decision out of hatred and anger. So if you have a certain situation, okay, and you wanted to deal with it, you have to deal with it in the right way. And when you deal with it, you have to be focused on what is right and what is wrong. Don't take any hasty decisions when you're angry, or when okay, because when you're angry, it leads you to something. Even in the Bible, we see that Cain had so much anger on his brother Abel that out of anger he murdered him immediately, okay, instantly, and he got a curse on his life. So even we see so many instances in the newspapers also, that a man, he murdered his own wife on the cause of a remote changing the channel. Okay, and after murdering his wife, he was regretting. Okay, see how situations change and how our life gets affected when we take decisions out of anger. Even in a day-to-day life, we can relate it. We take some decisions out of anger, and then we sit and worry, oh my god, why did I take this situation, why did I take this decision, and now it is affecting my life. Why did I just resign my job, or why did I just talk to that person like that? Why did I take this decision, and why am I suffering now? I shouldn't have taken that decision. I should have done this. What if wouldn't have done it? What if I would have done this? What if? There are so many what ifs and so many why should I now life, when we take the wrong decision and we take a decision out of anger. So my friends, let's never take a decision out of anger, because it will only end us up in worry and sorrow and a lot of what ifs, and a lot of why shouldn't I have done this or that. Okay, so let's not take a decision out of anger, and let us not make a decision out of urgency, and let us not make a wrong decision like what's that, Abraham, and let us not make cover up decisions. Okay, because when we do all these type of decisions, it leads us only in worry and sorrow. It ends up like that. Okay, and let us see another person who is known as the prophet Jonah. Yes, prophet, he makes a very selfish decision. Okay, what he does is God wants to send him to a place called Nineveh. But what Jonah does is, he doesn't want to go to Nineveh. But he knew that God is a very gracious God and God is a very compassionate God. And also he knew that the people of Nineveh are very evil. And if he does anything, they will instantly kill him, or his life will be in danger. He'll be put in prison and he won't be given food. And he had so many excuses. Okay, Jonah built up a wall. Okay, so that he built up the wall, okay, which would fall on him himself. Okay, because his decision was a very selfish one. Okay, so what Jonah did was, Jonah took a ship to Tarshish, okay, instead of going to Nineveh. But you know what God did? God wanted to teach Jonah a lesson. Do not be selfish, okay? Because when he took a decision, when he was so selfish, he thought only about him. He did not think about the welfare of others. He had so the whole city to save. Okay, he had the whole city to save. There were around more than 2,000 members in that city who needed who needed. Okay, there were more than 2,000 people in that city who needed to be saved. But Jonah only thought about his life, and he wanted the whole city to be perished. But God is a loving God. He had compassion on not only Jonah and also on that people. So God taught Jonah a lesson when he went to the ship, and as he was on the ship, there came a storm, and the people were so scared when Jonah said, "You can throw me into the water." Jonah thought, okay, the storm is because of me. Okay, and if I die, nothing will happen. The people of Nineveh, let anything happen to them. Okay, when he told his fellow mates on the ship, okay, you can throw me out of the water, and he told his fellow mates on the ship that you can throw me into the water and everything will go calm. You know, when he told this, all the fellow mates in the ship, they were very scared. Okay, because what type of God is he serving, that if we throw him, the water will become calm? Okay, we see in the Bible that when the fellow mates threw him into the water, that others, okay, that the fellow mates in the ship, they prayed for him. Let me read that verse for you. Jonah chapter 1 verse 16. At this the men greatly feared the Lord, and they offered sacrifice to the Lord and made vows to him. And also another verse 14. Then they cried to the Lord, "O Lord, please do not let us die for taking this man's life. Do not hold us accountable for killing an innocent man. For you, O Lord, have done as you pleased." Okay, so we see in the Bible that Jonah was selfish. Okay, Jonah wanted to be selfish. Jonah, he was not bothered about his life, but he wanted to be safe. Okay, but all he wanted was not to get into trouble, not to get into turmoil, not to get into problems. He always wanted him. Okay, I'm safe, I'm happy, that is enough for me. I don't bother about over 2,000 people or whatever that city is. I don't want to go there. I don't want to tell anything. Okay, but even when there was this ship problem, even then he did not pray to God. He never wanted to pray to God. He never wanted to do anything concerning God. He never also was bothered about the lives of his fellow mates on the ship. He knew that God was teaching him a lesson. Only at last he knew that God was teaching him a lesson not to be selfish. So first Jonah was very selfish, and he went out of track, and he went to Tarshish, and he wanted to go to Tarshish. But on the ship also he never repented. Okay, and others have to be praying for him. Okay, and others prayed for him so that God will not cause harm to their lives. Because of their prayer also, God caused a whale to just swallow Jonah, and Jonah had to pray from the mouth of the whale, and then he repented, and then he went to the city of Nineveh, and then he preached. Even then his selfishness was not gone, and afterwards he repented, and then he also became a good prophet who had predicted so many things in the Bible, which we can see in the book of Kings. So, my friends, Jonah, he took a decision which was very selfish one. Let us not only be selfish, let us never be selfish when we take a decision. There are so many things in our lives that sometimes when we take a decision, we tend not to make a discussion or nothing. We just want to take a decision for ourselves. We do not think whether it affects our family, whether it affects our work, whether it affects our career, or whether it affects the people around us, whether it affects our friends, whether it affects our co-workers, whether it affects the people who love us. No, we never at all think about that. All we think is only about me, me, me. When we think about me, 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 and when we take a selfish decision, what happens is it not only affects us, it also affects others. See, when Jonah wanted to go to Tarshish, he knew the fate of Nineveh, but he never thought about the fate, whether how so many of the people who are young, old, kids, baby, infants will die. No, he never thought about that. He never thought about the destruction of, he never thought about the lives of others. He wanted him to be safe. Okay, sometimes Even we take a decision like that. We take a decision where we want to be nice. I should be nice, I should be happy, I should be well, I should. Okay, all the things which we do is selfish. When we take selfish decisions, it is only temporary. Okay, we are happy only temporarily, but after that, when we see what the decision we took, okay, the decision that we took affects our whole family, affects our friends, affects our career, affects our job. Okay, only then we realize, okay, I shouldn't have taken this decision. Let us not be too late. Let us never be late. Okay, in it's better to be late than sorry. Okay, so let us never be selfish when we take decisions. Okay, but let us ponder, let us think, let us analyze, and then take a decision. Okay, and let's move on to the next character, and this character is a very interesting one. Okay, it is about Noah. Okay, I was also pondering what decision Noah took. Okay, in Genesis chapter 6 verse 7, we see that only Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. Of all the people in the whole world, only one man found favor in the sight of the Lord. Noah was living in a time where people had unnatural affections, and people were gambling. People were always, they had a life of immoral sin. Okay, they lived a life of immorality. Okay, always they used to do things which were not pleasing to God. Always they used to do only bad things. They were involved in adultery, fornication, okay, unnatural affections, and all sorts of unnatural pleasures and all sorts of things. I Okay. So what happened was, when they used to plunder others' houses, they used to rob, they used to steal, they used to do all sorts of things. In the times of Noah, Noah could have enjoyed life. Noah could have plundered others' property. Noah could have stole. Noah could also have enjoyed the pleasures of those immorality. But he didn't choose to live a life of immorality. But he chose to live a life of moral. Okay, so he chose the life of good. Okay, he made a selfless decision because he wanted to be a moral, he wanted to be an example. Okay, he wanted his sons to follow him. He wanted to show the people that even in the life of so much of pleasures, and in the life of so much of immorality, you can have everything. You can have riches if you steal from them. You can have all you want. Okay, you can have anything and everything if you do this, or if you do that. That was the way in the okay, that was the life that Noah was surrounded. But he tended to make a decision. He chose the right decision that was pleasing to God, and also because of his decision, not only he was saved, his wife, his daughter-in-laws, and his sons were also saved. We see in the Bible that when the flood came, all not everyone was saved. Okay, none of them were saved in that whole earth. Only the animals, birds, and Noah and his family. Noah and his family means him, his wife, his sons, and his sons' wives. Okay, so we see that because Noah took a correct decision, Noah took a selfless decision. When Noah took a selfless decision, what happened was Noah's family was saved. Or else, if he would have been selfish, no one would have been saved. None of them would have been saved. Everyone would have faced the wrath of God. So, my friends, let us not only take decisions which is pleasing to us, but let us follow the decision, the plan that God has for us. Okay, I had a message in that a girl wanted a cute little teddy bear, but God, He keeps a big teddy bear behind His back. So, what I am telling is that sometimes we wanted something. Okay, we focus on something. Okay, but God wanted to give a very big thing to us. Okay, but what happens is we focus on that. Okay, it may be temporary or permanent. It may cause good happiness to us now, but later it will cause us suffering. Okay, so when we focus on small things, God wanted to give us something big. Okay, so our decisions affect our life even though God has given us free will. Are you ready? Are you ready to take a decision which is selfless like Noah? There are even another instance in which okay, Peter, Peter had toiled the entire night. Okay, he was a very good fisherman, and he knew. what are the ways to fish, and how each and every method Peter knew. But what happened was Peter toiled the whole night and he did not even catch one fish. But when Jesus told Peter, go down to this side and put your net and you will get a catch of fish, he did it immediately. He said, Lord, because you said, I'm going to put out the net and catch a fish. You know what happened? There were so many fishes that the net was about to break. He had to ask for help from his friends from the other boat. Okay, so they helped him, and immediately when Peter knew that this was God, okay, and this was God's doing, and he told to Jesus, Jesus, please leave me alone. I'm a sinner. He didn't say, oh, Jesus, come again on the boat. I want a lot of fish like this. He did not say that. And also what happened was Peter also took a selfless decision. He was not selfish, okay? He followed God's voice. He followed God's law. He followed what God wanted him to do, because he knew that this catch of fish is only temporary. When God told, from now on, I'm going to make you a fisher of men, Peter never said, okay, Jesus, if I sell this fish, I would have so much of money and my family will have lots of things to buy. My children will be satisfied and so on. He never said anything like that. Okay. He knew how much money he will get if he sells so much of fish. But he took a decision which was a right thing, which helped him to become a main person in the whole of Christianity. Okay, and he also was a big example. So when we see the life of Peter, Peter never chose the fishes. He never chose the temporary blessing, but he chose the permanent one. When we see in the Bible, God helps us to make the right decision. Okay, like Noah, like Peter, like Matthew, okay, who were selfless and who took a right decision. Okay, their decisions not only helped bless their family, it was a worth a fortune. Okay, so please let us take a right decision. For example, let us follow God, okay, because God has the right plan, God has the right way, God shows us the right way and the right step for our future. Like Isaiah 55 verse 8 and 9, it says, my thoughts are not your thoughts, my ways are not your ways. As the heaven is high above the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways and my thoughts higher than your thoughts. So when we wanted a shortcut, when we wanted something and we go for it, okay, what happens is we may get into so much of pain, agony, and also it may end up in so much of things. Sometimes it may be temporary, sometimes it may go on for some years and then we have to suffer. Okay, so when we make a decision, let us ponder, let us think, and let us analyze it, whether we are making the right decision or the wrong decision. Whether we make a decision like Noah, like Peter, like Matthew, or are we making a decision like David or Esau, like Abraham. Okay, let us ponder, are we like them, or are we like Jesus, who was selfless, who sacrificed his life so that we may enter into his kingdom. Okay, we may be free from sin, from slavery of the devil. Okay, and we may be released from the bondage of sin and hell. Okay, so let us make a right decision. When we are unable to when we are unable to take a decision, let us take the Bible. Whether you're a Hindu, Christian, whatever religion you are, God never looks at you like that. He looks at you as his children. Jeremiah 29 verse 11, he says that he has a perfect plan for you, a perfect hope for you, a hope, a plan that will not ruin you, okay, a plan and a future for you that will exalt you, that will lift you high, okay. Jeremiah 29 verse 11 is a perfect verse for you to make a right decision. That is, when we take a decision, let us ask God to help us when we are taking the decision, whether it is wrong or right, okay. Let us listen to him, okay. When we are taking a decision, let those decisions not be selfish. Let it not be out of urgency. Let it not be out of hatred. Let it not be out of anger. Let it not be out of selfishness, but let it be selfless. Because when we make a decision, it not only affects us but also our family and those who are around us. When we take a decision, let us not make a decision out of urgency, hatred, anger, but let us focus on God and make a right decision. God bless you.